All right, guys, we're back, and we are ready to do some Q&A with you guys. Lots of folks writing in questions during the break, which is great. And we're going to start off with, let's see, was it Brillin CTR? Would duplicate work with something like a Leper Gnome and an aggro mage deck? Extra 4 damage. I think alluded to that. That's one of the things I wanted to experiment with. But generally speaking, like, what are your thoughts, guys, on aggro mage and duplicate?
Wow, that's a tough one. I feel like Mad Scientist is gonna be somewhat useful, come around the end of Nax,
Mhm.
because I mean Lepronome is essentially would duplicate a fireball. Like you're getting at least 6 damage out pretty much for one. Like you're getting 2 cards for 6 damage. It's not absolutely disgusting, but I can imagine it would be frustrating to run into so many of those. The problem is how much card draw do you put in that deck? Because that seems to be another problem of hyper aggressive decks. You do run into card draw problems. Duplicate kind of compensates by giving you extra bodies, and you're gonna be running mirror images anyway, an aggro mage. So do you really want to get those back with duplicate at the wrong time? With a knife juggler, sorcerer's apprentice, mirror image combination. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. I just know that it could see play. Like I don't dislike the aggro secret idea, like with Kirin Tor Mage being a 4/3.
Yeah. Trump?
Those are some really good points, Noxious. And the reason why there's so many people who are hating on duplicate is just because in the situation envisioned, wouldn't you rather play Arcane Intellect? You draw the 2 cards immediately, and aren't they going to be on average better than Leper Gnome based on your situation? Because when you're on turn, like, as aggro, you're not going to play. Well, I say you're not. Sometimes you have to, but your ideal play is not to stop the aggression and then play duplicate on turn 3. Like, they kill your Leper Gnome, then you have only your turn 1 and turn 2 play, and then on turn 4 you play 2 Leper Gnomes? That's hardly any aggression at all. So
That's a good point.
it seems too slow. In Noxious's deck, which is the Freeze Mage with the duplicates, that might have some potential because you're drawing some really high value minions off of those generally, or minions of a specific purpose. And it's like one of the few decks that I could see duplicate possibly being valid in.
Well, I mean, you'd be forced to play Kirin Tor, right? If you were to do this kind of aggro mage for kind of what you're saying with the tempo. I mean, you'd lose tempo playing duplicate on a 3, right? So it'd have to be essentially free for you to play it.
Okay,
Yeah.
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 And when you do
I
that
can't
with
see a
Kirin
reason
Tor,
not
then it's
to.
valid.
Mhm.
That's true.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's where
Or
mad
Mad
scientists.
Scientist even?
Yeah, that's where mad scientists can come and play too.
Yeah, and before deck with 2 Mad Scientists, 2 Kirin Tors, 2 Mirror Entities for the tempo gain that you get. Their minion would charge,
Yeah.
and 2 duplicates just to get more of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's some dream scenarios, which is pretty crazy, but yeah, but try it out, guys. I never hurts to try things out, and I'm sure things will be discovered that could be really, really cool. Let's see. Tim Dope Smosh 8 asks, "What's your favorite deck in Hearthstone right now?"
To who?
I think it's just all of us.
Oh,
You guys have a favorite deck? I don't think I have one right now. There's a lot of decks I just like right now. So I played some Paladin, played some Shaman recently. So I don't have a favorite one, honestly, right now. Especially with Nax. It's just in flux. Either of you guys?
yeah. Well, I'll say Freeze Mage with duplicate because it's hell of a lot of fun, but that's just because I've been like stuck on it for the past 3 days. And other than that, I guess Priest with Makesna. That's another
What?
one that I haven't seen at all. Yeah, I haven't seen much of it,
What?
but it's when Zoo is over everywhere, you can actually have fun with that one. But it's not good. It's not generally good. Like it's gonna lose against most of the metagame, but it is fun. That's all it is.
Trump, anything?
Well, as someone who likes to have the edge on things, my favorite deck just happens to be whatever it is that, like I earlier talked about my deck constructing motto, whatever I think is good against 50% or more of the decks out there. So it
Okay.
changes from time to time. Currently, it seems like the deck to beat is Zoo. So my favorite deck might be something like a warrior control deck right now.
Okay. War Control, always a lot of fun. What do you think is, or Super Sop 200 asks, what do you think is the best card animation in the game? Oh, I know mine, but I'll let you guys go first. Trump, you want to go first on this one?
Sure, Twisting Nether. I like the big
Oh,
explodey
no,
flashy
yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never. I guess I don't know. Wow, that's interesting. I've never even thought of it. Explosive trap looks pretty cool, but uh, I can't say it's my favorite one.
I think
I don't
mine
know.
mine right now, I mean, it could be just because it's a new thing, is I really like the ooze. The
The echoing ooze.
yeah, the echoing ooze. I think the echoing ooze is really cool, and I
Good
hope,
point.
yeah, I hope we see a lot more of that. Just just these nice subtle things, but it's so it's so unique to that card. There are a lot of things that generate tokens and minions that are pretty generic, right? And they all look the
Yeah.
same. So the ooze, I was really impressed by the ooze, and hope and it's like my favorite one right now.
Brawl's
Uh,
pretty cool.
Brawl, yeah, Brawl's cool too. What do you think of the change? Do you guys like it or not? Not the last man in anymore.
I guess I could. I mean, the ape in me
The
is
ape.
liking it when it turns out right, but the human being in me says, "Can I please know what it is faster, so that I
Right.
can move on?"
Right.
Great change. Much more suspense.
Yeah. Just that extra second of suspense. Pyro Foxable asks, ever tried cutting the whole Armorsmith Acolyte Whirlwind Taskmaster package? Here's an example deck list, and let me cut and paste it in the chat here. Here we go. So, have you guys ever tried a warrior without what a lot of people a lot of people use as the foundation of the early game, right? And just any kind of pressure you can put in the early game is, I think it's pretty much all in this whole Taskmaster Acolyte Armorsmith package. Any thoughts
Well, I
on
feel
this?
like it's one of the
Yeah.
most functional ones, at least. I mean, we have seen decks like Tempo Warrior come around,
Mhm.
that are not like they happen to suffer from the same problems that other decks that are running a similar thing tend to run into, where they have to put in Loot Hoarders and Blood Mage Thalnos, Azure Drakes, just for the card draw. And I mean, if I'm going to run Control Warrior without Acolyte of Pain, then like Shield Block is that it? There's a limited amount of cards that you can put in
Yeah.
that really fit the archetype. And I think Armorsmith and Acolyte just fit it too much and synergize with too much stuff that you can justify removing them. I just don't see the point.
Yeah. Trump?
I will say this much. When I saw that deck list, I got a blast from the past back to about 4 or 5 months ago. Fight Night #1. These are the types of warrior control decks that were being run. The Ancient Watcher egg taunt system wasn't being run, but with the egg, maybe it's viable. Basically, the theory was that perhaps you don't need that much card draw, since in the end game you play all of these cards, which will 2-for-1 your opponent, in theory.
Mhm.
There are problems with this deck. It might fall over too quickly. Maybe you don't get card draw against late game. Why aren't you just playing a Druid? Because Druid has Ancient of Lore and can ramp even faster.
That's a good point, actually.
But
Yeah.
I think that overall this deck does have its advantages over it as well, because you have more efficient clear, you have your hero ability, which is possibly better, but maybe not. And it's like I generally encourage, try it out. If you hit Legend with it, then consider that a sign that you're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. My first glance at it, I think it would struggle. I mean, my first thoughts is it would struggle against Zoo. I mean, it's really dependent upon like very specific draws actually to survive what's currently out there with Zoo, and it's got brawls, but brawls for the most part, I mean, unless you get
He's got two actually. That's
he's
which I
got two, but he
find,
doesn't have any
kind of
armor
rare.
smiths, so it's just like he's not gonna he's not gonna nail those brawls. No, but brawls, if you don't actually clear the board completely, which most of the time you don't, right? Like your opponent's still left with one, then Zoo's still gonna have tempo on you and have that crazy advantage on you. And your late game, I guess
Well,
you do have a Baron, but
yeah, isn't Zoo favored against Control Warrior anyway? Baseline, I think. A lot of the time,
yeah, unless you're Kit
it's
Kats.
maybe like a little in the favor of Zoo. I'm not sure. Slightly, I'm not entirely sure yet. Yeah, I mean that just makes it a little worse. I mean, if you get the Watcher Egg plus Taunt, yeah, it's pretty much you're good to go. But other than that, yeah, pretty
Okay.
hard.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's see. Okay, let me find where I was here. Okay. Okay, so Jesse Jewel, do you feel like Warlock is becoming the new meta, and would Void Terror be reasonable addition to Zoo with the egg and power overwhelming? Um, I think Warlock's always been in the meta, so I don't even know if it's new meta or not. But I guess, what do you guys think of it? Do you think there's been a new wrinkle to all this? You know, with the Warlock. Warlock's always been strong, right? Trump, what do you think?
Yeah, Warlock has always been strong, and Zoo has always been a major contender.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is true that with Nubian Egg and with this new spider, the one that summons guys, I somehow can't remember its name, but Creeper.
Which one, the Creeper? Yeah.
It's gotten better, and it is only going to get better. Well, that's not entirely true. It will get more tools. One of the cards to look out for, Reynad and I hyped it up a lot, is going to be the Zombie Chow, the 1 mana 2/3. That's
my
going
gosh.
to make Zoo go to the next level. Noxious, you're shaking your head. What's
I
up?
don't. I never want to see this card.
That card is.
I don't want to see the
crazy.
day where it falls in the game and tempo gain is irrecoverable. Like you can't recover. It is a nightmare come true.
Yeah, I mean, just having this 1 mana card, which technically should be costed at 2, but because of the drawback, it's enough to save a mana on. You get that out early, and there's potentially a snowball effect where you use your 1 drop, and you're actually able to kill the opponent's 2 drop more often, and then you just stay ahead.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had played something like a Voidwalker instead, then your opponent might not be able to. You might not be able to kill your opponent's 3/2, but.
I mean,
Yeah,
that the biggest thing is that the penalty is not even existent, right? If you play it on turn 1,
That's right.
Yeah.
and that's
And-
that's the biggest thing for me. It's like,
There are
oh my
times
God.
where you get it late game and it's quite bad. It's true, but
Yeah.
it's those starts where you gain your advantage with Zoo. I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a shame too, because I think that card is going to be that my opinion is that I think it's going to be way too powerful. But I do like how it could be really cool with Priest, right? So
Yeah.
it's just a shame that it
20
it
damage
just-
in 1 turn.
I mean, it's cool, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, I like the potential of it in Priest. It's just gonna be too strong in Zoo, and that's unfortunate.
I mean,
Uh,
Alkanized Soul Priest is just like it just added another layer of fun to the
Yeah.
game. I think the thing is like, how do you pull off the Baron Riven there, Alkanite double Chow Circle of Healing? It's like there's 5 cards you need to get for 20 damage burst. It's a lot of mana, but
Wow.
as a priest you could stay alive until 5 cards are in your hand, and then you drop 20 damage in 1 turn, unstoppable. How do you what? Like it's, I don't know what's gonna happen with the Chow, whatever it's called. But I'm scared. Like,
Yeah. Well, you could go that route. You could just go generally more of an
Yeah.
aggro priest too with that. I think with the Akanai and the Chow. But just to follow up on his second part of the question, Void Terror, reasonable addition to Zoo with Egg and PO. What do you guys think of Void Terror? Noxious, I'll let you take this
well,
one first.
Void Terror, yeah, it's I mean, I've seen a lot of people run Void Terror these days. It's like Power Overwhelming is coming back with a force on the egg, and they just follow it up with a Void Terror because why not? Why wouldn't I get a 7/8 out of my egg on top of a 4/4 and 4 damage?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I do that? And the only ways that I found to beat it, like I'm just happy that I'm playing Freeze Mage essentially. Because without Nova Doomsayer, I don't see myself stopping this at any... Like, I guess Control Warrior could do it pretty damned well. But outside of that, I mean, Sap, maybe. Play Miracle Rogue if you have it in your hand. It's just very hard to, to counter without silences.
Yeah, Void Terror.
Anyway.
Trump?
Right. I think it's a different direction. I think Zoo has kind of will branch off to 3 like subsects of Zoo eventually. One subsect is going to be the Undertaker version with a lot more death rattle.
Yeah.
One subsect is going to be this Void Terror Power Overwhelming version. And then one is just like the vanilla solid all around. I happen to be more of the vanilla solid all around type guy because I don't necessarily want to I don't want to risk my game on needing Power Overwhelming and an Egg and Void Terror. Now I understand that it's fine without, but it turns out that Void Terror is quite bad when you don't combo it with like an Egg or Power Overwhelming in specific. And that's the problem with Void Terror. It has some major upside, and I think it has its validity, and I think it's a good deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a bit more risky.
And
And
put
higher
all your
payout.
eggs in one basket, right? It's the same. Is the big problem, right? Is the
Nice, Noxious,
biggest
nice.
issue. Oh, I didn't even realize it.
Yes. Oh, we're sure you didn't. Good
I
stuff.
swear I didn't. I kid you not.
No, it's a lot of fun
Oh.
though. I mean, if you've never tried it, I'd highly encourage you try the Void Terror egg and PO because it's it's a lot of fun getting some things. But I do agree that the Void Terror shouldn't be like you shouldn't try to build a giant Void Terror ever. I don't believe it's just too there's too much single target removal in this game, and that's kind of what Void Terror plays into a lot. But a single egg is good, man. 3/5 and a 4/4, like it's pretty good play. All right, Oda asked, how do you feel about the restrictions that are preventing pro players such as RDU from entering the BlizzCon Championship? So this is kind of, I guess, it's one of the biggest threads right now today. RDU posted something on Reddit, just really explaining that he can't participate in the BlizzCon Championships for whatever reason. I think it has to do with being or just being Romanian. What do you guys think about this situation? I don't know. Are you guys familiar with what's going on here, Noxious?
I am not familiar with the laws or the regulations that are responsible
Yeah.
for this,
Yeah.
but obviously, it doesn't make any sense to me. But I guess if Trump has any insight as to what's going on, I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, Trump, do you have any insight on any of this?
My insight is really basic and simple. It's that for some reason, and presumably Blizzard has a good reason,
Mm-hmm.
these countries and even some states
Yep.
are barred from competing, probably because the states and/or countries have dumb laws. And I'd say that it's just important for the. I think it would be a good gesture for Blizzard to explain why this is not allowed,
Mm-hmm.
because I think RDU is a great player and he deserves to be there. And if it's because of some dumb law that's barring him from doing so, then that's too bad. But they should say so.
Yeah.
And if there's anything they can do to accommodate that, like perhaps. I mean, I understand it would be a risk and they'd have to work it out. It's a legal nightmare sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
it's worth trying, I'd say.
Yeah.
So what
yeah.
RGU's doing, I kind of like him bringing it to the spotlight, and it makes me feel for him because it's too bad that because of some unfortunate circumstances, clearly out of everyone's control, that he might not be allowed to compete. But at the very least, he deserves a reason why.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with you there. I think Blizzard just needs to at least explicitly state why you can't compete in these countries/states. He's not the only guy. I mean, there's some other folks too that are just not as high profile as RDU that are in the same boat. There are a lot of countries. I mean, not a lot, but there are a decent amount of countries on that list that aren't able to participate in BlizzCon. And RDU is arguably one of the best players right now. I mean, it's hard to actually argue that he's not even. He actually claims he's top 4, but given his results, he and Amaz have definitely had the highest results like in the last 4 or 5 events. So pretty hard to argue that he's not at least top 3 or even top 2 right now. So it'd be really unfortunate if a player at that caliber isn't going to be represented at BlizzCon. But at the same time, I can understand Blizzard not being able to do something, because if you do something for them, then you have to do something for everybody else, like in the same boat, and that would take a lot of time. I'm just imagining. So who knows what will happen? But I think at the very least, an explicit statement about why would be, just at least enough to
An explanation
placate
at
them.
least, so
Yeah.
people actually get it. We might still not like it, but at least we'll have some kind of
know why,
understanding as
yeah.
to what's going on.
I mean, the explanation is going to be really simple. There's
Yeah.
country laws that prohibit us from inviting them.
Yeah, but
And, it'd be nice for them to say it, I guess.
Yeah, but it's just like which laws, because like everybody's just trying to guess. It's not is it gambling laws or gaming laws? Because like when you have a tournament in Romania, then the Romanians can participate in it, and then you have, I think he threw out an example of Night End, who's Romanian, who's a StarCraft 2 player who's competed in other countries before too. So there's definitely even like stating like which one it is, I think would actually be nice, but we'll see what they say. But I think Blizzard will probably address this in the near future, given that RDU is bringing it to light.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, Daps to Ninja. We'll take a couple more here. Okay, so Daps 2 Ninja, what do you enjoy most about the Naxxramas expansion?
The flavor of it, I'd say a
Flavor
lot.
in the design,
Yeah.
or just you mean
The
the
design, the
lore
entire
and stuff?
graphical
Okay.
lore, everything about that I think is amazingly done. That's what I like most about it. I mean, I'm a vanilla WoW kid, so this brings back memories, like big ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty cool.
Trump?
Yeah, man, Vanilla WoW Nax was my favorite raid from it, and I think the cards in the encounters, they do a good job to let those who have played that before reminisce. So, and for those who haven't played Naxxramas, it has its own. The encounters display the bosses very well, individually and uniquely.
Hmm.
My favorite part about it is that the heroic bosses are harder than I thought they would be,
Hmm.
and that you do actually need to build decks. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna take my zoo and crush all of them when I first started. It's like, oh, that apparently doesn't work. So, good on that.
Yeah.
And
For
I
me, yeah.
just like everyone else. I like the new cards. New cards are great in collectible card games. Hopefully, they release 3 sets a year, 4 sets a year.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
2 sets a year. All right, fine.
As often as you
No,
like.
3 sets a year. At least 3 sets a year would be
Yeah.
no
But they did
perfect.
say the infrastructure was already in place, so they could release the next ones a bit faster, right? I recall reading that somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the plan. I mean, if it's only going to be 30 cards at a time, I hope it's like three, at least three.
But
But
it's
if
not
it's going to be
true.
bigger than 60, 80 cards or something, then two would be, I think, okay. My thing, I just enjoyed the solo event. I just enjoy the content that they made there. Besides the cards, I was most looking forward to the new cards and building new decks. But given that it's staggered, I'm just really enjoying the solo adventure part of it, and the that puzzle aspect of it. That's been a lot of fun. Okay, we got. Let's see. All right, we got one that's talking about the issues. So, and then one we'll talk about priest. So we'll talk about the one with the issues first, and then we'll end it with priest. So, well, one of them is, what do you think about the? Let's see, where is it? Okay, what do you think about the crazy issues in regards to the release of play quarters right now in Europe?
They still have the problems right now. It's
Uh,
still up.
they made a statement about it today. I'm not sure if it's still going on or not, but I guess the problems meaning like being purchasing it or spending the gold or whatnot on the play quarters and then not being able to get in, right? What do you guys think about that? This not
I
great.
mean,
Okay, I mean it's just
releases are releases.
yeah,
Basically.
exactly.
Like I don't really know what to say. I don't think I remember a single launch of any game of any event within a game that I haven't had problems in. So
Yeah.
I think I'll let that one slide as well.
That's like, what do you think about it? It sucks.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
that's it.
so
yeah.
the
What
reason,
can you do about it? Releases are releases. These things
yeah,
happen. You catch as many bugs as you can. Sometimes some escape your grasp. It's just a harsh dose
yeah.
of reality.
And the thing is, that they said that they are gonna make sure that everybody that spent their money is gonna get it all back. So you're not gonna you're not gonna be cheated out any gold or any of that any money that you've spent on it. Yeah, so it just comes with the territory. I mean, I've released many products in my career, and there's always, it's like Murphy's law. Sometimes whatever can go wrong, and it seems to always go wrong. So whether it's operations or it's actually code or whatnot, something will go wrong when it releases. And unfortunately, like with this, it happens to be just the purchasing side of it. But they'll resolve it. They'll resolve it and get it fixed ASAP. I think. Let's see. Priest. Okay, last question. Can we talk about Priest? Toe Dragon Bardown asks, can we talk about the place of Priest in the current meta and where we think it will be after all the cards are released?
Wow. Temple Priest coming around post Nax. I don't know. I'd like to see it come around. For sure. I know that I'll be trying combo Priest with that Chow guy, but I mean I can't guarantee that I'll live up until that point. The amount of decks that are coming out, I think Dark Cultist being as strong as it is nice for Priest. Like as far as its It's getting back its tempo without having to commit more than 3 cards on the board with a combo piece. So it can actually be not too bad. I think it'll be a lot stronger once obviously all the Nax cards are released, or it might get much weaker by virtue of other decks being that much stronger. I'm still not entirely sold on that.
Do you think Dark Cultist breaks the class? Because we had Raynet on last week, and
Yeah,
he actually thinks it breaks Priest by.
yeah, I think it does.
Really?
To an extent.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
to
So
an extent.
you're along the same lines. Yeah, Trump. Trump. I think me and Trump were like on the side where it's going to be really strong, but I don't think it breaks the class.
Yeah, and I still maintain that.
Yeah.
What do I think about Priest in the current meta? Well, it's just because of their hero ability as well as their cards. They have no cards that promote aggression other than Mind Blast.
Mhm.
Their cards mainly focus on buffing, and their hero ability focuses on healing, which is quite bad when you're trying to go on the offensive. Unlike Warrior Control, which you would think has no place in an aggro deck, they have these weapons which do a lot of damage for the mana cost. Fire Axe, 2-mana Fireball, Arcanite Reaper, 5-mana Pyroblast.
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
Priest has nothing like that, so their role is pretty much very confined to the control/late game role. And if someone builds a deck that is not that, I would be rather impressed. Like, there's another version, perhaps, where you could go super aggro with Divine Spirit, Inner Fire, and then like try to kill them really fast. I think that's one possible route.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but more in whole, it's going to be a control-y type style. Dark Cultist, I think, cements that because it has a high health value, and it also buffs health. So you can use your hero ability to sustain longer, and Priest is infamous for being like the class you're most likely to face off against and then go into fatigue against, and that's because
Yeah.
they usually last a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's their role, and with Dark Cultist coming up, I think their role will be a bit better, and that is my take on Priest.
Yeah. I agree with that. I do like the Zombie Chow options though. With Aconite,
Yep.
it still relies heavily on Aconite. Obviously, I don't think Shadow Form is going to be coming into play anytime soon here.
Oh, Shadow Form.
Yeah.
On the topic of Zombie Chow, I do think
Yeah.
that it'll fit into most control decks just because a 1-mana 2/3 is good, and control decks
Exactly.
generally don't worry about the opponent's health.
Yeah.
So you're gonna see a lot of that, I think, and then you can you can't justify it in like pure to the face decks, but I think Zombie Chow will be in a lot of decks,
Yeah.
and
It'll solidify tempo so easily early game.
when your control
It's a
deck
finisher
fights the
too.
tempo,
It's a
when you're
finisher
a board
too.
control deck, it gets something out. Pretty much the only deck that won't be running is just pure to the face backspace rogue or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, well, that's going to be it, guys, for questions. Thanks for all the viewers for tweeting those questions. Lots of good ones today. But going to wrap the show up. And Noxious, pleasure having you on this week. Hopefully we can have you on again sometime. We won't have to wait, what was it, like 7 months to have you on like this last time.
Yeah.
But
Indeed.
want to do any shout-outs, thank yous?
None at all. None.
Okay. Trump, want to do some shout-outs and thank yous?
Yeah, so shout out to Logitech. I am with TSM, and one of their sponsors is Logitech. And cool Logitech stuff came in today. I'm on a new webcam, which
Yes.
captures a lot more of me in higher resolution. Wow. And my keyboard is a lot quieter now, so it's good stuff. And also, Alienware, thanks for that. My new computer is coming in soon. Hooray.
Awesome.
Which
Any-
will probably
any-
have some HyperX memory in it. Yay.
So any changes to the stream with the new computer? Any like enhancements or anything, or nah, just everything's just gonna run faster for you?
I think the big thing is just going to be when I get a new computer, my stuff will actually be able to run. It's pretty nice.
Okay, well that's good. That's always good. I'll wrap things up by thanking, of course, you two guys for doing the show. It's always a lot of fun with you, Trump, every week, and then Noxious again this week. Be sure to check out Noxious' stream. His stream is a lot of fun, entertaining, and it's twitch.tv/NoxiousHS, or is it just
HS,
Noxious?
yeah. Underscore HS, yeah.
Noxious_HS, and of course Trump. You guys all know. You don't even have to. Trump. It's you guys know Trump's stream. You don't even have to advertise it here. And of course, this stream too. If you enjoy Value Town, follow the channel. It's a great way to get notifications when the show's going live. And you can follow us all on Twitter at ChanManV, at TrumpSC, and at Noxious GLHF, right? I believe that's that's your Twitter. But that's going to conclude.
One more thing.
Oh, one more thing.
So I almost forgot to mention.
Oh, I almost forgot something too.
There was a prismatic. No, what's it called?
Prismata.
Prismata.
Coming up on Sunday, 3 p.m. and it'll be 3 p.m. Pacific.
Yes.
And it'll be cast on Hafu's stream and casted by yours truly and Hafu.
Yay.
So be sure to check that out. Some really strong players made the top 6. Drive Crow, Tides of Time, Gara, Brad, Ignite, Freshka, and I have heard, although I haven't seen the game so far, heard from the guy editing it that the games are very good.
Okay, great. And for those of you not familiar with the Prismata Cup, it's run by Alex and Alex Weiss, and he wants to create a tournament or a cup that's based on just, I guess, multiple parameters. One being the ladder rankings, one being just, I think, general rankings. I mean, he's still trying to figure it out, but the whole point is to really get folks that are producing on the ladder and that sort of bit into a tournament that's somewhat resemblance of like a players championship type of thing, if you're familiar with other sports. So check it out, definitely. Of course, Trump and Hafu's casting will be a lot of fun, and it should be good. It should be a really packed weekend, actually. I think WEC is going on too, and I'm doing a fireside gathering here in South Florida too. So if you live in South Florida, come and check that out. You can find out the information on Liquid Hearth. It's actually going to be in Coral Springs. If you're in Miami, or if you're in West Palm or wherever, just come out and hang out. We're going to actually have a tournament there. The winner's going to qualify for the BlizzCon qualifier too. So come and play Hearthstone too, as well as hang out with a bunch of folks that love Hearthstone. But that's going to be it, guys, for Value Town. VODs are going to be up at youtube.com/ChanManV shortly after, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Peace out.
Bruce.